Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wild Ride with Steve-O, and I don't mind if I feel a little bit sexy this Christmas. Yeah, dude. So, what can I say? The guy is a legend of podcasts, and he's on my podcast. So let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Carolla. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, thank you for coming on. I'd like you to meet my co-host, Scott Randolph.
What's up, Adam?
Hi, Scott.
And we've also got at the front of the van the gorgeous Paul Brisky.
Hey, Adam. How are you?
Hi, Paul.
So yeah, dude, where to begin, man? We have an illustrious history. I don't think we need to rehash it too much. The Adam Carolla show, drunkest I ever was on TV. I don't think people quite realize how bloody I was by the time I left there from kicking my foot through that glass table. Like, I really sustained a serious laceration, and when I woke up in my bed, it was blood all over the place.
Do you not remember being there?
I remember being there. I don't remember leaving. I don't remember anything to do with being on TV.
What'd you do that day?
Whatever. You could ask Adam that. That'd be better than me telling it.
Well, that'd be a good title for your next book. And I'm serious. Like, I remember showing up. I don't remember leaving. The Steve-O story.
Yeah, man. So, your last book, was the title of it about service animals?
Let's see. It was called I'll Be Your Emotional Support Animal. No, wait. I am your emotional support animal. Sorry. Got the name of it.
I love how much you have just absolutely shit on people and their service animals and all the rest of it. And I have to tell you that I got this dog right here, which I found in Peru. I found her in the streets of Peru, brought her home, and I just love her so much. I have to bring her everywhere. So I looked into it, and I don't know if you know this. I know most flight attendants, people at the airport check-in counter don't even realize that in fact there is no such thing as official certification for a service animal. It doesn't exist. Do you know that?
Well, no, I know there's such a thing as a dog, like a seeing eye dog. Like
Correct.
Those dogs get certified, but the emotional support animals, no, that's like the chupacabra.
But we don't put emotional support.
Right. I mean, seeing eye dog. Okay, here's the reality of it. Yes, there is great levels of training for a seeing eye dog. However, there's no such thing as official certification. There's no test to pass to get like a license or anything like that. And the rationale for that is that if there is one sort of a governing body, then that governing body is going to have like a monopoly over it, and they just don't have any certification. If you say it's a service animal, it's a fucking service animal, and they're not allowed to ask you what your disability is. They're allowed to ask you what task the animal's been trained to perform. But yeah, I'm one of the schmucks that puts the service dog vest on his dog and brings it on the airplane.
Well, that's why I wrote the book.
Yeah, dude. So here, let me ask you. I remember being just so filled with jealousy when I saw that you were recording podcasts in comedy clubs holding like 300, 400, 500 people on Tuesday nights with it completely sold out. What I want to know is the Mangria. You sold your sangria. Was that a big revenue stream for you? How much Mangria were you selling?
We've sold a lot. It has been a revenue stream, but I wouldn't call it a big revenue stream. It's just kind of one of the many sort of satellite businesses I have. I just have 11 jobs, and that's just sort of one of them. Carolla Drinks is.
I like that, man. Satellite jobs. For all the people who have humongous social media followings, it feels like, great, you've got a storefront with a lot of traffic coming through, but it doesn't help unless you have stuff on the shelf for sale. That's
a good way to put it. Yeah. So for me, I realized when I was let go from my terrestrial radio job in 2009, I went home and I said, I don't think there's going to be any more one big job. I don't think there's going to be any big contracts anymore. I think there's just going to be a whole bunch of small jobs. And I sort of said, I would look at it now. I said, it's like a bunch of hoses that were going into one trough, and some were trickling water and some were shooting out water a little faster. And then others were like sucking off the water that was in the trough. We have to figure out like how to get the ones that are kind of trickling to speed up, and how to get the ones that are sucking water out of the trough, get those out of the trough. And then the ones that are going at a good flow, we got to keep those going. And that was kind of the metaphor I had for, the kind of new world order career wise. And I think it's been true with just about everybody. No one does, one thing anymore, or maybe Mariah Carey does. I don't know. But after that, it seems like everybody I know is completely diversified now.
Well, they say most millionaires have 7 revenue streams coming in. So,
Oh, do they?
Safe to say you're a millionaire, right? If you have 11.
I rounded up, but yeah, I am technically a millionaire.
Okay.
I remember going to see you perform at the Hollywood Improv, and you had a little bit of a multimedia act with like an overhead projector, very much like the teacher had in high school, and you had like it was almost like a slideshow of your annual revenue from the beginning of your career. And I just remember thinking, wow, like talking about money is sort of notoriously sensitive, and like here's Adam Carolla, like just actually fucking showing his yearly income and just getting away with it. That was like your part of your act for a long time, huh?
Yeah, it's in a special called Not Taco Bell Material, and I think it's on. Trying to think where you find it. Where do you find that, Gary?
You can get it on video on demand anywhere you get specials. I think it's also on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime, I think you can find on. It's a pretty funny special, but it's pretty inspirational too, because at some point I do put my Social Security statement up on the board, up on the screen, and we go over every single year that is employed. And there's some zeros in there, and there's some, made $3,200 in, 1984. And there's a lot of that. And then at some point it starts getting into hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it's kind of an interesting progression to see. I would say probably about 15 years of, my best year being $23,000. And then all of a sudden it starts hopping up into hundreds of thousands, and some point gets into the millions. So it's pretty inspirational. And I don't know why people play that shit so close to the vest. I was poor. I started off poor. I was poor for a long time. I worked and was still poor for a long time. And then at a certain point I wasn't. And I don't know why you wouldn't want to see that illustrated, and why it wouldn't be motivational to you if you were in the audience.
Oh, I'm not. I thought it was perfectly fascinating. I thought it was a great show. I was glued to it. I just, I think I was just raised that way. My dad, I don't know. My dad was a businessman, and yeah, he played. I just always understood you're supposed to play that close to the vest, and yeah. So anyway, we established that at a certain point you became successful, and your career really started on Comedy Central, right? With the Man Show, Crank Yankers, all that was all on Comedy Central. And I'm dying to ask you, with Dave Chappelle being in the news, saying with this boycott Dave Chappelle, he's outraged that he's not being paid for the Chappelle show on
Netflix.
Yeah,
that's what that's all about.
He was more mad about it being on HBO.
Yeah,
but I'm interested in your take on that. Like it seems that it says, don't watch that show unless they pay me. But then I can't help but think, didn't he just get like a full $20 million for each and every special? Like He had like a 3 special deal
Yeah.
for 60 million. Is it wrong to have trouble taking that seriously? That he demands to be paid for this show that represented him paying his dues early in his career? And if not, should I say people should boycott Jackass shows because I didn't get paid shit? I said it before and I will say it again. I don't mind feeling a little bit sexy this Christmas. And why? Because I'm taking care of myself, people. Yeah, I'm caring about my fitness and my recovery, my exercise. Dude, it's all about Whoop. If you haven't heard about it by this point, then I don't know where you've been hiding, but here's the story. It's a membership program, okay? It works with this bitchin' fitness tracker that I wear on my right wrist. The fitness tracker, they give it to you absolutely for free when you join this membership service. How does it work? This fitness tracker, it gleans more information, more insight, more valuable knowledge about what is going on with your body, and it communicates that to a killer app. Okay, it is totally easy to use, completely intuitive, and now all of a sudden, because I use it, I know every single night, like, what time I laid down, when I fell asleep, what different stages I was sleeping in, how long I slept in those different stages, how much my body recovered, and then when I get into my day, I know exactly how much I should be pushing myself with what's called strain through different physical activities. Now, if I decide to get on my bicycle, I don't even have to plug it into the app, because it already knows, dude. I stop cycling, I cool down a little bit, the app says, boom, good job, man. You just rode your bicycle. Yeah, man, I know exactly how many calories I'm burning through. I know what's going on with my body, and I don't ever have to take this thing off because the charger just slides right on top of it, man. I don't think I'm ever gonna take it off because I love my Whoop band and you're gonna love yours. Now, how are you gonna get it? You're gonna go to whoop.com. That's WHOOP.com. You use the promo code STEVO and you get 15% off at checkout. That's right. Merry Christmas, people. Go to whoop.com, promo code STEVO, and get healthy, man. Enjoy your life. Now, let's talk about this ripping off people.
Yeah, I think there's two thought processes, and they're probably both right in their own way. Like on one hand, you go, well, the guy did 5 specials on Netflix and he made $100 million. So what are you complaining about? Or Comedy Central paid you when you did the Chappelle show and you made tons of dough. So what are you complaining about? And you go, all right, that's a sensible argument. And then the other argument is, well, but if other people are profiting off of something you created and they're getting rich off it, then why are they getting rich off it and not letting you wet your beak? And they're both arguments. They're both sort of sensible arguments, either way. And I guess both arguments are right. Either way, all entities here are doing, whether it's Netflix or Comedy Central or HBO or Dave Chappelle, they're all doing exceedingly well. So we shouldn't give a shit about either one. That's the way I look at it.
Right. I wonder, is HBO, I know Netflix, isn't Netflix like losing money? Like they're just in incredible amounts of debt and like.
I think the idea behind that was they said they were losing money because they kept acquiring titles, right? So they would show a loss on paper, but their net worth just keeps growing and growing and growing because they have all those assets now. But they're spending money to buy all these things up.
Right.
From what I understand it. I mean, they're not, if Queen's Gambit is getting 62 million
households,
like they're not poor.
Yeah, shit.
So
do you have, as one of your revenue streams right now, I know you were doing the Catching a Contractor, which is just fucking fantastic. Like, and then you had other shows around cars and racing cars. Like, are you still in the television production business at this time?
I have a company called Chassis, CHASSY Media, and we do a lot of documentaries, and a lot of them are about automotive racing or guys. We have, I think, 3 up on Netflix right now. Actually, we have the 24-hour war, which is basically Ford versus Ferrari at Le Mans. That movie, we did the doc before the movie. We did one called Shelby American, which is a story of Carroll Shelby, and the other one's called Uppity, which is a doc about the first black race car driver at Indy. So done those. I did Winning the Racing Life of Paul Newman, which is just about Paul Newman's racing career.
I saw that. That's fantastic.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I have a bunch of his old race cars, and then I race his old race cars and vintage races. So done that. Winning is on Amazon Prime as well, so I'm told. So, and we've got a bunch of other docs coming out, not necessarily automotive related. So, that's one thing that I do, which is production and make documentaries. There's a couple of TV shows out there that were in the talks about me hosting, like home improvement kind of stuff, and Crank Yankers is back up in production now. So I live kind of half, let's say half. I got like 1 foot in the like sort of traditional media, old school Comedy Central, let's make a big TV show and sell it to TLC or something. But mostly I live in the write the books, make the docs, do the podcast, do the live show world.
And how many podcasts do you have going?
I guess I do about 5 or 6 different podcasts a week, and my show I do on a daily basis. So maybe I do about 16 podcasts a week or something like that.
Every storefront he has 7 storefronts.
Is there a record? I know you held the Guinness record for like most downloaded podcasts, but is there a record for like most hours recorded of your voice or something like that you're maybe up for?
I think Paul Harvey has that, the old time. Oh, you guys can Google Paul Harvey and then you'll have a laugh. Let's see. Not that I'm aware of, although I have managed to turn podcasting into just a regular kind of full-time job. I mean, sometimes last week, I think I did 7 podcasts in a day last week, and I rolled in here at 10 minutes to 9, and I rolled out of here at 4 o'clock, and I've just been podcasting the entire day. So it is, for me, turned into like a bit of a job, just a kind of a full-time regular job.
It's like a 9 to 5.
Of your 11 revenue streams, is podcasting what consumes the most time?
Yeah, podcasting is the most regular thing I do, and brings in the most. And the other stuff is just stuff I'm trying to keep on top of in between the podcast.
Jeez.
Do I remember that you started your own podcast network? Maybe you started out with Westwood One,
Carolla One.
Carolla Digital was, my very earliest thoughts were, well, if I'm doing a podcast, it's called Ace Broadcasting, I guess. I was doing looking down at the screen. When I started off, I don't know, 12 years ago, I was thinking start doing my podcast, but shortly thereafter I started to think, well, I like cars. Maybe I should do a car related podcast on top of the podcast I'm doing. And then I thought, well, I like home improvement, so maybe I should do a home improvement podcast on top of the podcast I'm doing. And then it just kind of spun into that.
So when you were doing
podcasts,
when you were doing terrestrial radio, was that your only gig, or were you still always doing a bunch of stuff? Because I remember you had the boxing documentary a long time ago. Was that you? I remember you promoting that.
That was a feature. That was just a regular rom-com. Yeah, I made that. I made films here and there. I did TV shows. I always did always did terrestrial radio, and I always then did shows as well, MTV shows, K-Rock, Comedy Central shows. Yeah, I did shows while I was doing terrestrial radio and movies. And no, I wasn't doing books back then.
Where does this work ethic come from? Were you always working hard, like as a kid in like school, or is this like anything to not have to deal with school? Or yeah, like where does this work ethic come from?
I wasn't. By the way, the boxing movie was called The Hammer. People
That's
like
right.
it. Certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. I wasn't much of a student at all. I wasn't good at school. I was a poor student. I didn't have much of a work ethic as it pertained to scholastics. I played football and I worked pretty hard to play sports. So I got a strong base of what it was like to kind of sweat it out and really work hard from playing so many years of football. Then later on, when I got out of high school, I didn't go to college and I didn't really have a career or any path to go on. So I started working construction, but I was really just a laborer. I just, dug ditches and cleaned up garbage and moved drywall and did shit like that. And I was sort of like, I was getting, $7 or $8 an hour. And I just kind of figured that if I worked 40 hours a week, I'd walk out of there with $250 after taxes or something like that. But if I work a 50-hour week, I'd get out of there with like $318 or something. And I wanted to work a 50-hour week. I just wanted more. I just wanted more shit, more. I wanted to survive. And so then I worked pretty hard. And I also realized that being a laborer sucked on a construction site. It's just dirty and hot and shitty and just digging ditches all day. So I was like, I got to figure out a way to be a carpenter. And so I started working kind of hard, trying to learn carpentry and apprentice with the carpenters and that kind of stuff. And I worked my way up to carpenter, fairly quickly, maybe 4 years or something like that. And then I started realizing, well, I could do like side jobs on the weekends and make some cash. And I wasn't really a hustler, but I was a super hard worker. Like I always was willing to get up on a Saturday and go go make someone a redwood dog-eared fence or something in their backyard, see if I could make like $100. So I did a lot of that. And then when I got into show business, I just kind of took that same mentality to show business.
Did the other people in show business around you like not share that ethic? Was it frustrating for you, or did you kind of find like-minded people there?
Hollywood divas.
Now, I told you I feel sexy this Christmas, but I also happen to feel very generous because I decided that the loyal listeners of the Wild Ride podcast should not get just 10% off my online store. Not 20%, but 30% off of all physical products available at stevo.com. Now, note there are 2 different stores on there. There's the Naughty Store with the merchandise for adults only. That's where you get your autographed dick pics. And how are you going to get 30% off of every physical product in the Naughty Store and the main Stevo store? Glad you asked. You're going to use the promo code StevoClaus. And that promo code is going to work until the rest of the year, for the entire rest of 2020. That's like, what, 8 days or something? About 8 days. Yeah. That means you get 30% off if you use the promo code StevoClaus, and hurry up because it's only good for the rest of the year. Yeah, dude. Now, let's get back to work.
Well, the 2 guys that I basically got started with was
Jimmy Kimmel and Dr. Drew, huh?
Yeah, Dr. Drew and Jimmy. And Dr. Drew and Jimmy both have an exquisite work ethic.
Yeah.
Like they're both super fucking hard workers. And, like Drew didn't even really look at himself as a entertainer or broadcaster. He looked at himself as a doctor who was on call all the time, and just whatever you told him to do, he just do it. So Drew has that. He had it. He still has it. Jimmy was that way too. Jimmy was like, he wasn't really a stand-up, and he wasn't really a writer, and he wasn't really a host. He was just a guy who facilitated things, made things happen, had ideas. I guess he was a producer, but he wasn't a producer at the time. And so Jimmy has this really creative streak that also is coupled to this really hardworking, kind of responsible, sober, like kind of work ethic. So when you hang around with those two guys, you can't be a slacker, because they're going to immediately look at you going, where were you? You're late. What's going on? So I ended up just hooking up with two of the hardest working guys in show business. And honestly, I just didn't want to disappoint them. Like, I looked at myself as kind of a shitty student, loser, construction labor guy. And I was like, oh boy, I better fake it till I make it. Like, I don't want these guys, I don't want to hold these guys back. I don't want them to think I'm late or lazy or anything. So I just kind of upped my game being around them.
Nice.
That's cool. I remember I dropped out of college when I was 19 to become a plumber, and I would always drive around listening to your radio show, and I knew that you were a construction worker, and I was like, all right, cool. This job sucks so bad, but Adam did it, now he's successful. So maybe, I have a chance to not do that. And then I quit a month later, but it was just always, I just remember listening to you back in what was that? Like 03, 04, and just kind of, but plumbing's got to be the worst job out there. It's a shitty job. Somebody's got to do it.
Plumbing's bad, but it pays better than many of the other trades.
Well, I was the snake guy. So
you were the rooter guy.
So I had to go around and snake shit out, but it was a free estimate. So you drive all the way out there, and they can tell you no, but I got 30% of the bid. And so if I didn't get the right price, I'd have to drive all the way back. So I'd do it for nothing,
Yeah, but it's good to have. I used to clean carpets, and that was the same kind of shitty job. And it's good it calibrates you, though, right? You go, okay, this is what I don't want to do. Like, I know what shit work is. Like, I know what it's like to work, and I don't want to do that ever again.
What's funny is, Steve, I feel like you're such a hustler and hard worker too, but I don't think did you ever have a job like a plumber or anything like that?
I got fired from every single job that I ever had.
Yeah. Where does your work ethic come from?
I mean, I'm just such an attention whore, and I want everyone to know about me in some capacity, and I just am persistent.
Yeah.
So I wonder, when you were saying you think everybody's got so many different, revenue streams and jobs, is Jimmy a one job guy? Does Jimmy have to do a million different things?
Yeah, Jimmy does a million different things. He always has done a million different things. So he's not, I think everyone has one job that maybe they're known for, or that's their main revenue stream, but Jimmy does a lot of producing and writes children's books and has many, many irons in the fire.
Yeah, and everybody, of all three of you guys, are family men. How many kids do you have?
Two. I have twins.
2 kids. Oh, wow, you've got twins. Drew's got triplets, huh?
Yeah.
One up.
Yeah.
How long have you been married?
18 years.
Wow. I've been now, I'm coming up on engaged for 3 years.
He's going to be engaged for 18 years, in the next 15 years.
Yeah.
Have you guys, how long, what's the protocol on how long do you have to be engaged
Yeah,
for?
how long were you engaged when you got engaged?
6 months.
Oh, man. I can't recall, but I remember I was engaged for maybe like a year, and then I broke it off, and then about a year went by, we weren't engaged, and we got back together and got engaged again, and then got married. But I can't remember how long. I can't remember how long the second engagement was, or even the first engagement, because I'm just bad that way. Like, it doesn't. I have this brain that's sort of like, I don't know. Like, do I need it? Does it benefit me? I didn't know Steve would ask it on a podcast, so I probably should have committed it to memory. But I don't have. I'm not that way with birthdays or anniversaries or anything. My thing is just like, what's next? Get on with it. What are the dates? Like, I'm a sort of what are the dates in the future, not what are the dates from the past guy.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense, man. And your kids, the twins are identical twins?
No, they're fraternal twins, boy, girl, 14 years of age.
Wow. I got a vasectomy to make sure that I don't ever have kids.
I would, well, it's reversible if you want.
Well,
But,
he saved a sperm too, just in case.
I blew a load that was cryogenically frozen and saved, but it wasn't as much if I change my mind. It was more because I'm sure there's going to be some dumb jackass bit that I'm going to want to.
You're gonna make a kid for a jackass
Not
bit?
going to make a kid, but there'll be some kind of thing like everybody like blows a load on a fucking platter and then we fucking, like dry it with a hair dryer and I snort it or something like that.
That's pretty good.
There's the Ookie Cookie episode coming up.
Yeah, there's going to be something that I'm going to want to be able to contribute a load to. And it's
Yeah, that's true. Adam, with you raising these twins, like you grew up not rich, you've kind of faced adversity and had to work real hard to get out of that situation, but now you're raising kids presumably with less adversity. Like, how do you kind of address that as a parent?
It'd be hard to impose a bunch of gravity on my kids, the kind of gravity that I grew up in. It would just be bizarre to try to withhold shit from them. So basically my head on it is I'm not stern or strict, I'm not one of these parents that's like, I grew up poor and now you're rich, but you're going to have to learn all the virtues of being poor and working hard and all that. I'm laissez-faire with all that shit.
Nice.
My thing with my kids, and I felt this way growing up, but in a more negative way, which is, instead of parents kind of imposing a bunch of rules and regulations and here's the way we're going to do it, I try all the time to just sort of lead by example. I just say, I would leave when the comedy clubs were open. I would go out 2 or 3 nights a week to just go do comedy for free. Like, I'd go to the Comedy Store on a Saturday night. And I would say to my son and my daughter, like Saturday night, I'd say, look, we live pretty far away from the Comedy Store. And I would say, I'm going out. I'm not getting paid. I'm doing it so I can get better at stand-up comedy. And I'm leaving now and I won't be back till midnight, but that's what I'm choosing to do. And even though I have money and even though I'm successful, it's important that I go out and try to get better at this craft. And they would tell me I'm blocking the TV set and to hit the road. But I made my statement.
Yeah. Well, okay, that's good.
That's right. Fucked a cocktail waitress, did a 10-minute set, and came home.
Yeah. What do you do if you catch your kids smoking pot as a parent? What age is it cool? Or, you walk in, they're 14 years old. Are you pissed or are you like, fuck, okay, well?
It's funny. My kids and this new generation are so square that they talk about like some kid who was a troublemaker because he got caught vaping, in the bathroom and stuff like that. And it's like, it's so weird and innocuous, but they're so kind of they grew up in this kind of anti-smoke, anti-drug, anti-everything kind of world that I can't even really like. It's weird to them to smoke pot or to smoke cigarettes or to, drink booze or like drink beer in the park or like all the shit we grew up doing. It just doesn't even make sense to them. It seems weird to them. But I would tell them, I guess my pot explanation would be, it's not going to kill you, but it's not really going to help you either. And you get a little bit older, you want to partake at a party or something, so be it. But don't turn it into a fucking lifestyle, because that just becomes your life. Like you just become that person. And I would feel that way about anything, booze or pornography or whatever. Like, I don't know, fucking chili dogs. Like, yeah, go ahead and have one, but don't make it a thing.
Yeah, I get that. I know Jimmy Kimmel enjoys a marijuana cigarette. Did you ever get baked with Jimmy Kimmel?
Let me think. Yes.
But you didn't make it a thing.
Well, yeah, I think most of the successful people we know just have a balance. It's like nothing wrong with pot, nothing wrong with booze, nothing wrong with anything when it's time to do it. But I don't know, the wake and bake people. I just feel like it's like, yeah, Jimmy likes pot. Jimmy would never get up and rip a bong load and go to work. Like it's a balance.
Mm-hmm.
I think everything's a balance. Your diet's a balance. Your work is a balance. Your exercise is a balance. Like everything is just this balance of, when is this appropriate? When is it not appropriate? Whose time am I on? Am I on my time? Is it Friday night? Am I done with the week? Am I in my bathrobe? Can I hang out? Am I going to drive? I'm going to drive the kids. Like, no. Okay, good. I'll have a scotch.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how it works. Now doing it, before you drive the kids to school in the morning. Now we're in a situation. So it's like the question isn't like, is having a scotch bad or is having a bong load bad? It's sort of like, when are you doing it and how much of it are you doing?
Such a rational take on it.
Yeah, that's why it's like when you came to his show blacked out, he's like, "Oh, hello, Steve."
But that's the thing, though. That it was my fucking plan, dude. Like
You were working.
That was his bit.
That was my bit. Yeah, dude. Now, what do you do for exercise?
Drink scotch and smoke pot.
Chili dogs.
Lecture my kids. Drink scotch. I have a rowing machine at home, and I figured out that I can't do shit on those treadmills or ellipticals. Like, I get bored out of off my ass, but something about the rowing machine kind of agrees with me. So I will partake in the rowing machine. Hopefully, 20 minutes, 30 minutes a night, just fucking pulling on that thing. It's kind of,
Man, I'm glad I asked. Is it one of these like Pelotonin kind of thing? Does it show you like you're going through some kind of a fucking course or?
Yeah, it's got like the video screen and the instructor and everything, but I never have the sound up. Like I never listen to it. I just row for half an hour or 20 minutes, and that's enough. I don't go through the fast and the slow and the cool down and the warm up and all that shit. I just fucking row. Try to make it. If you're going good, you can make it, I think, about 6,000 meters in half an hour. But there's a kind of a pace. It'll tell you the pace. It'll tell you the time. And you just kind of try to sit there and get through it. I just turn the TV on, watch the TV. I'm not into the instructor.
Nice, man.
It's
Nice.
almost like 5 miles.
And I think we pretty much asked this of everybody, but do you have an online store for merch? And where do people go to get it?
You can go to AdamCarolla.com.
AdamCarolla.com. And do you have a good variety of merch on there?
Yeah, we probably got some T-shirts and some hats and some of these buck slips. I'll hold up these cardboard slips to make your notes on.
Okay.
You want to make all your notes on a buck slip.
I like it. And so when the orders come in, how are the orders fulfilled?
That's a good question. We have people here who handle that stuff.
We also use a third party service where basically it's on demand. So after an order gets placed, then the item is produced and shipped out, and it's done from a third party location. So we don't have a large stock sitting around.
Got it.
Thank you, Gary. Right. And you can get my books, and if you get my books, you can send them in, and I'll sign them, and we'll send them back out to you.
Holy shit.
That's
cool.
interesting.
Is that something that people have to pay to have done?
No, they just buy the book or get the book somehow and just send it in. I'll always sign them, and we'll send them back.
Wow.
That's cool.
That's how much of your time does that take up?
It varies. Like if it's a popular book and it just came out, then we'll get a lot of books to sign. And if, but a few months wears on, and they're not selling like they did when it came out, so they just kind of trickle in. And when we get enough of them, we'll just lay them out, and I'll sign them all, and we'll just send them back. And when I go out on the road and do stand up, we'll bring some books, and we'll bring some T-shirts and a merch bag, as we call it, and we'll just sit back in the green room and sign the books and T-shirts or whatever anyone wants. It's not really much of a revenue stream. It's more just like, if people are going to come to the show, they want to buy a book, I'll sign it for them. If they want to bring their book, a lot of people come to the show and just bring their book with them, and I'll sign it because I'm happy they took the time to buy the book.
Yeah.
Do you miss not being on the road, or is it a nice break?
I have been on the road. So I have been doing dates in Florida and Texas, and Utah, Arizona. So it's been a break in the sense that I haven't been heading out like every weekend or every other weekend. It's been spread out, every 5 or 6 weeks, which has been kind of nice because it was kind of hectic before, just sort of working all week and then going out on the road on the weekends. But yeah, I have been getting out there.
Do you have any dates you want to promote? Any last things that you want to plug? AdamCarolla.com, all the specials on Amazon Prime.
If you go to Amazon Prime, you can find my stand-up there. If you go to Netflix, you can find docs on Amazon Prime too, but you can find all the docs on Amazon, on Netflix as well. But you just go to Adam Carolla. Oh, I'm Your Emotional Support Animal is the name of my book. You can get that. Get that on Amazon or wherever. Leave a review. I always read them. And you can go to AdamCarolla.com, and I'll tell you where the live dates are.
Good, man. I mean, dude, can you imagine me going anywhere without this dog? I mean, that would be wrong.
No, but I think the dog could imagine it.
Yeah, dude. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you, Adam, dude. It's always been an honor to be your buddy, and really, really glad that we got to do this, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve and Scott and Paul, for having me.
Yeah,
pleasure.
dude.
Thanks, Adam.
Right on, brother.
Take care, guys.
Yeah,
Peace.
for sure. Dude, the timer clock is the shit. How about that right there? I like to think that there are 2 podcast legends in that shit. Yeah. And I'll tell you, man, I still feel sexy. I feel so sexy that for those of you watching, I feel like I just want to rip off my towel and show you my cock. But I'm not going to do that on YouTube. You know where I am going to do that? I'm going to do that at stevo.com. You head on over there and you use that promo code SteveOClaus. You get 30% off an autographed dick pic. Plus, it's got 2 dicks, man. Because the autographed is a dick too. Yeah, all right. Now, hey, enough is enough of that. Enough of that. In all sincerity, happy holidays. And thank you for sticking around to the very end. I love my street team. Fuck yeah.